Squidward's suicide. There are stories whispered in the dead of night, parasitic tales that burrow into the forgotten corners of the internet and feast on the innocence of childhood. They are urban legends for the digital age, designed to twist what we hold dear, turning comfort into a cold, suffocating nightmare. This is one such story. It centers around a supposed lost episode, a forbidden digital reel from a show we all thought we knew, a show that, for millions, was a bastion of joy and vibrant absurdity. It was an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, but not the one you remember. The legend begins not with a monster, but with an intern. Let's call him Alex. A film student, eager and perpetually sleep-deprived, working a thankless late-night shift at Nickelodeon Studios. His task was as mundane as it gets, archiving old broadcast files, sifting through the digital remnants of countless animation hours. The office was a sterile tomb, lit by the cold, artificial glow of his monitor, the only sound the low hum of the server racks. It was in this profound silence, around 3 a.m., that he stumbled upon it. Deep within a nested series of forgotten directories, Archive 01 SBS Preel's final attempt appreciated, was a file that didn't belong. Its label was stark, clinical, and utterly unsettling. SpongeBob's 4E21 Squidward's suicide movie. A shiver, cold and electric, traced its way down Alex's spine. It had to be a joke, a sick prank left by a disgruntled animator years ago. That had to be it. But the file's creation date was from 2005, untouched for years, a digital ghost sleeping in the machine. Curiosity, that most dangerous and human of traits, began its insidious work. It was a physical sensation, a gnawing in his gut, a relentless whisper in the oppressive quiet of the office. Every rational part of his brain screamed at him to delete it, to forget he ever saw it. But the film student in him, the seeker of lost media, was too strong. The urge to witness this forbidden secret became an obsession. With a trembling hand, he moved the cursor. He could feel his heart hammering against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the silence. He decided to watch it. Alone, in the dead of night, with only the hum of the servers as his witness, he clicked play. The familiar, jaunty title card flickered onto the screen, but it was immediately, profoundly wrong. The cheerful ukulele was there, but it was slightly off-key, each note sour and flat. The episode title appeared in a stark, blocky font, Squidward's Suicide. No bubble transition, no playful sound effect. Just those three grim words hanging in the air. The episode opened on Squidward, practicing his clarinet. The animation, however, was broken. It was jerky, missing in between frames, making his movements seem unnatural and painful. The music that came from his instrument wasn't just poorly played. It was a discordant, grating screech, a symphony of unease that seemed designed to fray the nerves. The camera panned out to show SpongeBob and Patrick standing nearby. But they weren't laughing or trying to join in. They were just standing there, silent. Their familiar smiles were gone, replaced with dead, neutral expressions. Their eyes, usually wide and full of life, were vacant black dots. They didn't move. They didn't speak. They just stared. The scene cut to the exterior of a concert hall. The sky wasn't its usual vibrant blue. It was a bruised, sickly gray, as if life itself had been siphoned away from Bikini Bottom. The narrative unfolded with agonizing slowness, each moment stretching into an eternity. The first act of the episode was Squidward's concert. As he played his horrendous music, the camera cut to the audience. They began to boo. But this wasn't the comedic booing of the show. It was a harsh, guttural sound filled with genuine malice. Then, the camera zoomed in on the faces in the crowd. SpongeBob, Patrick, Mr. Krabs. For a fraction of a second, Their eyes were no longer simple cartoon dots. They were hyper-realistic, bloodshot, and filled with a visceral, terrifying hatred. It was a flash of obscene detail that was gone as quickly as it appeared, leaving Alex wondering if he had imagined it. The episode then cut to Squidward in his bedroom, sitting on the edge of his bed. He was depicted in a state of profound, soul-crushing despair. This was no longer his familiar comedic cynicism. This was raw, existential torment. For nearly 3 minutes, there was no action. The camera remained static. The only sound was Squidward's quiet, shuddering sobs, occasionally punctuated by the unsettling, warped drone of the background music. The silence was not peaceful. It was pregnant with unspoken horror, a suffocating blanket of dread. The camera began to slowly, deliberately push in on Squidward's face. His eyes, now vacant and staring blankly, seemed to look directly through the screen into Alex's own. They were red-rimmed and weeping, but tears of blood seemed to streak down his face. His expression shifted, subtly at first, from deep sadness to a pure, unadulterated hopelessness. The look of a man who had stared into the abyss and found it staring back. A low, guttural moan escaped his lips, a sound of pure anguish that grew and grew until it became a scream. It was a sound Alex would later describe as tearing at the very fabric of reality, a sound of such torment that he felt a sharp, physical pain in his own chest. As Squidward screamed, the visuals began to distort, the screen tearing and glitching as if the digital file itself couldn't contain the agony. And then, as the scream reached its horrifying crescendo, Squidward's face was gone. The screen was black. For a single heart-stopping second, there was absolute silence. A voice, low and toneless, whispered from the speakers. A voice that was not Squidward's, not anyone's. Do it. The screen cut back to the scene. In Squidward's hands was a shotgun, rendered with the same horrifying realism as the eyes from the crowd. He lifted it, placed it in his mouth, and closed his eyes. The screen went black. There was the deafening sound of a blast, and then, for 5 agonizing seconds, the screen was filled with a blinding, visceral crimson. The only sound was the echo of that terrible scream, now distorted and mixed with a sound like rushing wind, which burrowed deep into Alex's bones, refusing to leave. The file ended. The monitor went back to the desktop. The silence of the office rushed back in, now more terrifying than any noise. Alex sat paralyzed, his face bathed in the cold blue light of the screen, his breath coming in ragged, shallow gasps. He couldn't shake the image of those eyes. He couldn't unhear the scream. The legend states that Alex was never the same. Sleep became a landscape of terror, filled with red-veined eyes and that single whispered command. He would catch fleeting glimpses of Squidward's hopeless face in his own reflection. The faint hum of the office air conditioning would sometimes sound for just a moment like a single off-key clarinet note. A cold, heavy weight settled upon him, a permanent stain on his soul. The story of Squidward's suicide is more than just a creepypasta. It's a chilling reminder of how easily our comfort can be shattered, a testament to the horror that lies just beneath the surface of the things we thought we knew. It's a tale that lingers, forever whispering of the day joy died and left behind a scream that never truly ended.